Hi again, everybody. This video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. Dear Ollie, please keep me anonymous, although I really do not believe that anyone would find out, but hey. Don't make a video out of this unless you consider this could help somebody else. I am still very much ashamed of my situation and my choices, and please excuse my bad English. I am not a native speaker. Thank you for your work. You have really taken on a Herculean task, cleaning out the Augustine stables of narcissistic shit with your work. You have helped so many people by demasking the BS they feed to us. This validation is life-changing and saving. I was born in Germany to a phlegmatic and at the same time caloric narc father, and I assume an originally codependent mother, but the dynamics are not clear to me. They were both alcoholics. Mother still is. I was sexually abused by my uncle, married to my mother's sister at ages of 3 and 4, 2 consecutive summer holidays, each lasting 2 months when my parents left me with them. I finally confided in my brother, 18 years older than me, same parents. My mom had about a dozen abortions in between. I guess I was a lucky survivor because my mother did not even find out until she was 5 months along. And then all hell broke loose. This scandal was swept under the rug at the command of my super narc grandma for the greater good. All this information I got from my brother, who was the only constant in this mess of a family, and I am really grateful for that. My father died 11 years ago, and I must say I do not miss him a second. Nobody seems to do so. He was constantly forgetting to pick me up from kindergarten and then school. My mother was working very late. He went drinking with his colleagues, and then my teachers had to take me to their home every time. I was scared to death that one day nobody would see me and I would end up on the street. I stopped sleeping normally at that time. I can only remember his impatience and him shouting at me, never a word of encouragement. I believe I was a nuisance to him for the rest of my life. I remember not wanting to be alive at the age of 8 or 9 because these drunks were fighting and everything I was between them, trying to keep the peace and being afraid they would hurt each other, which also happened. I have not one single good memory of him, only disappointments, and my fear of being unworthy to be dealt with, and his raging alcoholism during the last years of his life. Now the double whammy happened when I entered puberty, and my mother started projecting all her shit on me as well. In her eyes, I was a whore, a drug addict, a lazy disgrace before I even finished school. The week I finished school, they had a van in front of the place we used to live, and they moved us from Germany to Croatia, their country of origin. I was left alone in that house with the option to either find a new place in town within a month or move to a post-war country with these two clowns and no friends. Out of anger, I decided to go to France and live there for 1 year with my best friend. The depression that I had since my early years surfaced, and I had suicidal thoughts again, aged 19 to 20. I consecutively moved to Berlin, where I spent the next 5 years trying to accomplish my studies and working the nights at a jazz club, my second family at the time. Alcohol and drugs entered my life at that time, and since then I am prone to too much drinking. During that time, my mother started raging against me. Every time we saw each other, she would get abusive verbally and physically. She terrorized me over the phone a lot. But I was still under the spell that a daughter has to be submissive, and I believed that I was a failure. I eventually moved back to Munich, out of an abusive relationship and towards a better life. I finished my studies at the age of 32. Unfortunately, that year I lost my boyfriend of 3 years to a heart attack. He died in my arms at the age of 37, the day after we got engaged. I was pregnant 3 months at that time, and because of the shock, I lost the baby. My safe haven was gone. All this shattered me again. I was numb inside for the next 7 years. but on the outside I managed to get a good job, which brought me to Switzerland, where I now live. I had too much alcohol in no real relationship since then. I often found myself in situations sexually I would feel humiliated and guilty afterward, and I was not able to let normal men get close to me. I am also still battling sleep disorder. Around my 39th birthday, I hit another low, wanting to end it all for good. Fortunately, I have really good friends I can trust who persuaded me to go into counseling. My life has changed a lot since then. Slowly but surely, I am discovering all my empty buckets, and I am trying to heal my constant inner shame. My mother still makes my life a living hell when I let her, since she sees me as her property. Very nasty, bitter, overbearing old woman. Last Christmas, she told me that I had better been born a retard. Mongoloid is her preference. So I would not have been able to make my own decisions and live so far away from her. She dreams about me moving to Croatia to take care of her. Yeah, sure. Of course, I am the black sheep for not having a family of my own and not having given her grandchildren. My brother has a son who is more like a little bro to me than a nephew. Around a year into counseling, I rapidly fell in love with a man for the first time in 7 years. I thought I had the flu at first since I did not remember the symptoms anymore. I felt alive again. But what a surprise, it turned out the guy is not normal. Fortunately, we never got too close. Still, the cycle of abuse was going on for the last 1.5 years, and I put up with such a lot of bullshit I am ashamed to even tell you. Playing psycho games, setting me up, always dodging when we started to get closer. Knowing all the while that I would not stand up for myself because of the fear of abandonment and rejection. 4 months into being in love, I started my YouTube search over the topic NPD because things did not add up. I put the pieces together slowly but surely until the day I found out I was barking up the wrong trees and begging for love because I was trained to do so since the beginning. Love was anchored in an unfulfilled longing in my soul. No wonder I was falling for someone who's unavailable and even enjoys rejecting, shaming, and controlling me. Same as loser dad and mother monster. Without this community, I would never have reached this stage. Counseling was not enough. Even my beloved friends and my dear brother, all of whom I am so lucky and grateful to have, could not give me deeper understanding on this matter. I have not completely managed to get this guy out of my life yet. Still, the realization that the dysfunction of the other mirrors the dysfunction in yourself gave me a new angle, and I could finally detach. He still infuriates me with stupid Hoover moves, but I don't want to block him because that would most probably end in a smear campaign I am not willing to risk. So I decided to move slowly and quietly backwards out the door. Why am I telling you this story? I think there comes a moment in life when you cannot go on like you did before if you carry on this kind of past with you. The moment you have nothing to lose anymore, you surrender. Then the hard healing work begins. It scares the crap out of you, and it's excruciating to sit through. And it's excruciating to sit through it, but it's the only way out. It brings out all the ugly, fucked up shit. I'm still at the beginning of the real life and on the way building up my self-esteem. But I can say I love my life now. There is so much beyond the fog worth living for, and I want to encourage people to get rid of their toxic shame. Fucking throw it back at people who gave it to them and start being authentic and smart. I started meeting new people who are much healthier. There are good days and bad days. Before, there were mostly bad days, numbed out in booze. It is very surprising that detrimental behavior patterns loosen their grip on you once you work through your childhood traumas. It is a long way. It is a long way and a constant decision making towards inner freedom. But when you realize you only have this one life, and I imagine when you have children, you don't want to pass this shit on, it is getting much easier. One step at a time. And this community, your work, is a very good starting and healing point. It works. It's worth it. Next week, I'm turning 41, and I am more myself than ever. Flawed human being, but worthy and good enough. Dear Ollie, thank you so much for the work you do. Keep it up, you brave man. I would be honored if you find the time to give me your thoughts or a short comment. As I said before, this may not be worth the video. It just feels good to let it out this way. Love, hugs, and peace. Out. Anonymous. Thank you very much for your contribution, and thank you for your story. I really appreciate it, and thank you for all your kind words. You know, this video is an example of how you have to heal, how you have to confront the source of your abuse before you can move on and heal. How therapy is fine, even having close friends and understanding friends and some family, understanding family is fine. But until you let it out with people who understand the abuse you went through, who can relate to the abuse you went through, you really can't move forward. You know, and that doesn't happen typically in therapy because you usually leave therapy more confused than when you went in. And here, you guys everybody being able to share their stories and share their experiences, you know you're not alone, and you know you're not crazy. And you know your narc isn't magical or powerful or unique or all that smart. All of it. That's why these channels work. That's why I think this channel works. So thank you very much again for your contribution. I don't know why you're still dealing with your mother if she's in Croatia. I mean, it's obvious why you keep going towards the sort of narcissist that you do. I mean, you have constantly been abandoned since you were a child. Emotionally, physically, moved out of the country on. But the fact that you understand now that this has been going on since your father, since you were a little child, since your parents abandoned you for 2 summers to be sexually abused by an uncle. That's where you learn what you thought your self-worth was, your value. And that's what you were kind of seeking out in these relationships until you understood it. Until you understood where it all started and how. Once you understood that, you were able to move forward. So thank you again. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any advice or your opinions in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover or a narcissist you'd like to expose, you know what to do with the PayPal and my email link in the description box. I'll have the video right back to you. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon. Take care.